Hello, my name is Jana Tino. I'm in Speech 101 online with Amy Sorensen. Today I'm going to be delivering my persuasive speech on why you should be an organ donor. The Organ Procurement and Transplantation Network site said, being an organ donor can save up to 8 lives and enhance the lives of 50 people. That is why you should consider being an organ donor. Have you ever known someone, or have you ever been hospitalized yourself and needed an organ transplant? Well, I do. My grandmother, for instance. She was in the hospital for 110 days, and at one point her kidneys started to shut down, and we all thought that she might have to have a kidney transplant, knowing that she would be at the very bottom of the list. On the Health Resources and Service Administration site, it tells you who gets the organs first and why, and how they decide. Well, her age and her situation and her health at that time was not good, so she would have been at the end, and I myself would have taken the step to give her one of my kidneys. After researching several resources, I chose a few to use: the Medline Plus, the National Network of Organ Donors, United Network for Organ Sharing, Health Resources and Services Administration's U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. The statistics on the Organ Procurement and Transplantation Network say that there are over 112,000 people on the wait list, and of them, only 16,000 of them got transplants. Right there should tell you something. There are not enough donors to obtain life for half or even a third of the people on the wait list. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Services, there are 72 transplants a day and 20 people die a day because they don't get a transplant. If one person was to donate their life, they would save up to 8 lives and enhance possibly 50, stated from the U.S. Department of Human Health and Services. My cousin Justin donated a kidney to a a guy he barely knew. He went to church with this man. Him and his wife, and Justin's wife and his wife went to Bible study together, and she found out that he needed it either to be on dialysis or get a new kidney. So she went home to Justin and told him what happened, and he decided to take it upon himself to call the United Network for Organ Sharing to see what steps that he would have to take to see if he was a match. So they do tissue tests and blood tests, and they got back to him and they said he was a match. Him and his wife decided that it was God's word that they give a kidney, and so he did. At the end of it, he said that was the most amazing thing to be a part of. Getting to see the difference in their lives after the fact is amazing. He also told me, after I asked him if he was scared of being an organ donor, he said, seeing no difference of when you are alive or if you die, why not help people give the gift of life? He said, if you ever have a thought on why you shouldn't be, there's advanced directives on Medline Plus that you can go and look at and fill out. And it will take you through the steps of being an organ donor and how you want to do it and why you would want to do it. Organ donation directly affects everyone here. There's a strong possibility of either you, your family member, or a friend would need an organ transplant one day. If this ever came up, you would want somebody to have an organ ready for donation or ready for you to save their life. It all depends on the blood type and the tissue type, according to the Organ Procurement and Transplantation. Some may not be lucky enough to have a family member that is willing to donate an organ, so those unlucky people are relying on the people on the donor registration. If you are not registered to be a donor to make a difference of life, you need to get registered. I cannot state this enough. The ratio of how many lives are in need of an organ transplant to those without is far too vast. I have interviewed over 50 people, and 2 of those people said that they are not a donor. And the reason why was if they were in critical condition, they didn't think they would get the medical attention that they needed. Well, that's not the case. The medical team and the transplantation team are 2 separate teams. They don't work together. Your health would never be compromised choosing to be a donor, stated in the U.S. Department of Human Health and Services. One of the men that said he would not be a donor said he was diabetic. Well, you can be a donor if you are diabetic as well. Once you die, they evaluate your organs to see which ones are viable to use. The National Network of Organ Donors states that. I spoke to a member of an operating team that harvested both kidneys and a liver from a donor. They stated if any questions about the organ's viability, they will take small tissue samples and send them to lab for processing. After that, the results come back, they call the receiving physicians and give them the values, and they decide if it's an organ that they want to use for the donor recipient. If there's any organ compromise, they won't bother harvesting a sample of it or testing it, such as a heart, as if it has had a significant cardiac event. Being a donor not only saves lives, it enhances lives. Say one of your close family members gets hurt and is in need of an organ transplant. You are the only one that can donate. It's clear that you would donate your organ to save their life, and it is evident that you would want somebody to donate an organ to save their life as well. That is why everybody needs to get registered. Every person that signs up to be an organ donor lessens the amount of deaths in our society and makes the gift of life to a person. As mentioned before with my cousin, who experienced organ donation firsthand and is gratified by it, and me more than willing to donate my own kidney to my grandmother, it's just a few good outlooks on organ donation and the gift of life. So become a donor. The gift of life is in everyone's hands. It is needed in every state and every country, and the only way we can save a life is if we all have that little box checked on our driver's license, if we have it in our will, or if we go to a registry site and become an organ donor. And if you already are, I hope my speeches gave you a little more insight on how and why it is so great to be a donor. So if you are not, please consider being an organ donor. Really think about it and research it. There are so many opportunities and possibilities. It doesn't take more than a couple minutes to fill out the registry form, and it will make the biggest difference to so many people in their lives by saving it. Thank you.
Okay, now interview us.
Boy, I have to